Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Dr. Ruby Gill, and I'm honored to welcome you all on the behalf of lovely professional university. So, attendees, I know you might be wondering the reason of gathering virtually. So, let me reveal the reason to you and tell you something about today's webinar. We are going to have an incredible session with our experts today, as they are going to tell us all about how to use right to information. So I'm sure you're as excited as I am for today's learning process. So kindly allow me to introduce the experts of the day. Dr. Meenu Chopra, Associate Professor, Deputy Dean, School of Law, Lovely Professional University. An intellectual personality with specialization in taxation laws and holding an experience of 18 years in academics and industry as well. She continuously keeps on harnessing her skills while pursuing various courses on expandable areas such as soft skills, educational leadership, outcome-based pedagogy, developing IPR, and other associated fields. Moreover, she is quite extensive in research and mentored various students of the field. Her expertise lies in the business laws, constitutional laws, and matters of social interest. So thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us, for giving us your valuable time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So with equal pleasure, I would like to welcome Ms. Neeru Mittal, Head, School of Law, Lovely Professional University, an ardent academician with specialization in constitutional and criminal laws with an experience of more than 12 years. She is a keen observer and learner and has been making regular addition to her portfolio by participating in research-based programs. She is centered towards areas like emotional intelligence, educational leadership, and new pedagogical tools. To her credit, she has been awarded Best Faculty of School of Law in the field of RTI, and she has guided around filing of 200 RTI applications as well. So, ma'am, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for inviting me.
So with this, we'll begin our today's webinar. I welcome you all once again to the webinar and looking forward for a great interactive session. So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So my dear, as we all know, right to information is very important for all. Being a vigilant citizen, we should be aware of what's going on into our government. Open government, accountability, transparency in administration, and right to information. They are considered the foundational tenets of a democracy. Department of Personnel and Training, Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievance and the Pension, Government of India took the initiative to enact RTI Act on 15th of June 2005, which came into force on 12th of October 2005. Now you all might be wondering how to use RTI, what benefits RTI used to give us, and why we should effectively use this right to information. Are you aware that RTI is one of the most popular reformative law in the Indian political history? In the year 1997, Tamil Nadu became the very first state to enact a law onto the right to information. And right to information, my dear, it's part and parcel of the fundamental rights also under Indian Constitution, Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause A. And the same has been retweeted by the Supreme Court in one of the landmark judgments, that is State of Uttar Pradesh and Rajnarayanan, AIR 1975. And UN, United Nations, has also accepted that right to information since its inception in the year 1946. And freedom of information is a fundamental right and the touchstone for all the freedoms to which the UN is considered General Assembly, UN. So when it comes to the RTI, my dear, today we'll be talking about the meaning, the drafting and filing of RTI application. That is the drafting process of the RTI we'll be talking about. And major issues for the discussion for the day are what is RTI, when you can file the RTI, where you can file the RTI, why you can file the RTI, and how you can file the RTI. So to proceed further, what aims and objective, to understand right to know, to identify the department from where you can receive the information Obviously, if you want to know the information, you want to have the information, you should be well versed about the department from where you can fetch the information. It's not that you can go to the police station and can have for the RTI, but I'm filing an RTI to the post office or to the police station to fetch the information. There are certain specific departments which have been established under the RTI Act where you can go and fetch the data. And this is what we'll be talking about briefly today. And then the procedure, how you can call for such information. Do we have any technical procedure for the same, or do we have a very simple process to have the information? And then, do we have any formal procedure to write the applications? Or we can go for a simple plain paper application process also. And then the common pitfalls to avoid while drafting your effective RTI if you want to succeed while getting the answer for your RTI. So RTI, as I've already told you, is a fundamental right. People in the Indian democracy are the masters and they have the right to know about the working of the government. And to ensure the same, as I've told you, the government of India has implemented this Right to Information Act in 2005, and recently we all have celebrated on 12th of October the Right to Information Day also. And this act, a powerful tool, my dear, it enables every ordinary citizen to question the government and its working. And this is being widely used by the citizens and the media to uncover corruption in the various governmental department and expenses related information. Who can apply the information under RTI Act and where you can apply the information? All constitutional authorities, agencies, the bodies, the departments which are being owned and controlled, and those organizations which are substantially financed by the government will come under the purview of the Act. That means out of this, what we can figure out that you're not allowed to file RTI onto a private one. They cannot be, asked any sort of information under right to information because only public authorities are to be provided the information. They have been enabled under Right to Information Act. So this act also imposes penalties. First is against whom you can apply for. And in case they are not supplying you the information, do you have any remedies? Yes. In case there is an inappropriate delay or they are not providing you the information as you are asking for, the penalties can also be imposed on to the concerned authorities who are duty bound to supply you the information. Then comes from where to seek the information. If I have to talk about from where to seek information, my dear, there are two ways to apply for the information. One is you can write an application. You can go personally to the offices of the public information commissioners into your respective areas of those public authorities. And if you won't have that much time available with you, my dear, then the next thing is go online. We are a high-tech system nowadays. We can apply the RTI by the official online mean provided by the government of India, and a screenshot of the same as provided you. It's very simple process, self-explanatory. You just log into the official website of the government of India. You go through the requirements over there, guidelines for usage of the RTI online portal, and then accordingly you can then move to the online RTI request form, comply with the requirements, and then you can file for your RTI. Now, I'll be talking about the fee aspect also, and I'll be talking about the timelines also, but just give me 4 minutes for the same. But before dealing everything, we have certain objectives to follow. As I've already told you, to empower we the people, the citizens to question the government. It ensures transparency, accountability in the working of the government, and it also helps in containing corruption in the government, and it helps the people to work in a better way. And this act further, my dear, it builds better informed citizen who would keep vigil upon the functioning of the government machinery. What type of information can be requested through the RTI? The citizen can seek information from the government authorities and the government which can disclose to the parliament. But there are certain exemptions also. The information which is sensitive in nature. You cannot ask for, under RTI. The information which may affect the sovereignty and integrity of the government or of your country, you cannot ask for. The information relating to the internal security, relationship with the foreign countries, intellectual property right, and the cabinet discussions are exempted onto which you are not allowed to file for the RTI. You can have an example of, the attack onto the surgical strike onto the Pakistan, we were not made aware that yes, government is planning a surgical strike. We can have one another example that was a note ban, currency ban. We were not made aware about the currency ban till the time the announcement was there by the then Prime Minister publicly. So certain information has been prohibited also. So need of RTI. Why we all should be aware about the RTI? The thing is, do we want to be a change maker? Did you know that even you can also file an RTI application? And then, are you wondering how RTI can help you address your everyday issues? You know, we used to complain so many things. This is not going good. This is what it's happening. Who will answer this? Who is responsible for the same? Who will, implement this or that particular law? You can be the change maker. You can ask the concerned authorities how the things are going on, how the things should be, and why this has not been so far done. And accordingly, you can, later on initiate the matter further into the appropriate authorities. So next step, it will help you in drafting your application effectively, so as to leave no room for the ambiguity for the public information officer. And at the same time, it will ensure that all important information sought is duly provided to you. Now, RTI, how to try it. RTI 2005, as I've already told you, has not provided for any specific format, my dear, for the application. It can be, sent by email also. You can, write a application of yours onto a plain paper, onto any piece of paper, and it is entirely up to you how to identify what you must include into your application. And the objective of writing an effective RTA application is very simple. So that the other person should get to know what you are asking out of it. The other person should not find your application ambiguous or vague. So the next is you can make an RTA application. As I've told you, citizens have been given the right to file an RTI, and there's one exception. Exception is the persons of Indian origin or the foreign national. They are not allowed to file RTI. The persons seeking information must be an individual here only, individual Indian citizen only. Even if an Indian person, Indian citizen is living outside the country can also seek the RTI. He can also file an information by filing an RTI. But a company, a corporation, a society, any other local authority or the governmental authority cannot file for the RTI. For example, Reliance, Satyam, they're not allowed to file the RTI because they are not natural human beings. Moving further, the language. Now the next is what language you should prefer. Should it be English? Should it be Hindi? Or should it be any official language of the state in which the department is? Okay. The answer is RTA again has not provided any provision specifically related to any language. That means you can write an application in the language of your choice only. So sometimes one gets trouble when the reply of the application is given in a language which you cannot comprehend. Then what is the solution? For instance, you are filing an RTA application with the Municipal Corporation Gandhinagar in Hindi, and the public information officer is replying your application in Gujarati, and you don't know how to interpret Gujarati. It's a problem for you. So how you will figure out the solution over there? So under those circumstances, my dear, the courts and the commissions here stands out for state right to information commissions. They have laid down in various judgments, and the information should be given to the language which you understand. Now, how the PAO will get to know that this language you won't understand? He will not get to know automatically that you don't know Gujarati, you don't know English, you don't know Hindi, or you don't know Tamil. So in that case, it is always advisable to you to keep two things into your mind while choosing the language of your application. First, always write your application in the language which you wish to receive a reply. If you want a reply to be in Hindi, make sure you are writing your application in Hindi. And as a precautionary measure, it is always advisable while drafting your RTI that mention in your application clearly the language in which you seek a reply. But again, one point always has to be considered into the mind. The documents, records, and the files, etc., for which you are seeking an information In case their original language, for example, is Gujarati and you wish to have a reply in Hindi, then in that case, even though you have gone through all those two precautionary measures that you have drafted your application in Hindi, or you have mentioned over there that you want a reply in Hindi, PIO is duty bound because of the language of the document itself. He will not translate the language over there. He will provide you the document as it is originally worded, be it Gujarati, be it Tamil, be it Punjabi, be it Hindi or any other official language into which that document or the record or the file noting has been prepared for. It has specifically been mentioned here also that the PIO will not translate the document in the language you understand. It is only his reply that can be given in language, not the content of the documents sought for. So please do keep these two things in mind. The reply can be in any language which you are wishing for, which you are making the PIO aware about, that I can understand this particular language only. But if you are asking for the records of any particular document, the governmental document or the government, the language whatsoever they are in, you will be getting the same as it is. PIO is not supposed to translate the same for you. And then comes, while drafting your RTA application, what important fields you have to cover into your application. The first is addressee and address. Obviously, you want to have you want your application to get addressed. You should inform the concerned person that this is what my address is. Only then that person will be able to send you a reply. That means you have to mention the entire details of your name, address, city in which it is located, and the address of the person to whom you are sending should also be clearly mentioned onto the, in case you are sending a postal order. And it is always advisable to address the application, the name of the PIO, where never possible, to ensure the application reaches the correct department. Normally, my dear, it happens people are not aware to which PIO the information should be tendered with or from whom you can get the information. So before sending your application, you just do a little bit of your homework. You can fetch the information very easily from online resources and all that. Find out the name of the concerned PIO and address your application to the authorized PIO only, so that you can get the speedy, quick remedy available for the same. And then, as I've already told you, for getting prompt reply, name and address of the applicant should also be there. You should write down your name and the postal address of the place where you wish the information at. And the Act, the another important note which you all should keep into mind is the Act gives the right to information only to whom, as I've already told you, to the citizens of India. Corporations, associations, companies, they cannot ask for the information under right to information Act. But if an application is made by the employee or office bearer of any corporation, for example, I am working into the Reliance, does it mean that I am not authorized to file for the RTI? I am. Because over there, I'm filing an RTI as an employee or the office bearer of any corporation, association, company, NGO, etc., indicating the name that I am a citizen of India over there. I'm not representing Reliance or the Satyam or any other corporation or NGO over there. So in such cases, it would be presumed that the citizen has sought information at the address of the corporation. In case you are giving the postal address of the corporation, that will be perfectly fine. It will not be presumed that the corporation is asking for the information. And then comes the particulars of the information required, what you wish to ask for. And this section, you must break down the information sought in a systematic manner to ensure that the reader is able to get what you want from his department. And for convenience, you may divide this segment into different heads. For example, the subject matter of the information. In this, you should mention the kind of records you are seeking for, pertaining to what, whose records are you seeking for, concerning which department you are asking for the information. Then the period to which information relates to, information might be available in abundance, it might be related to the different years or the different eras. What information you're asking for, you should specify the time period over there, that I need an information for the year, for example, 2012 to 2013, or from this particular date to this particular date. For example, you want to, file an RTI onto the civil hospital of your respective area, that how much funds they have received from the government during the COVID to be, utilized for the treatment of the COVID patients and all that. So you need to specify the time period over there, get the authentic information, not the fake data over there. And then comes how you want to have the information. Do you want a reply by post or in person? So it is on you only that you have to mention whether the information which is being sought by you should be furnished to you in person or by post, and whether inspection of the document is sought. You know, two aspects under RTI you can go for. One is you can ask for the information, and the another aspect is you can sort for the inspection of certain documents of the any of the public authority. So in that case, if you wish to inspect those documents, you have to clearly mention so into the column while writing your RTI application that I want to have a look onto these documents. Then you can file an RTA application and you have to expressly mention that you want to conduct the inspection of some particular documents. And then moving to the next fee, RTI, right to information. As I've told you, one of the master tool which has been provided to all. My dear, a very nominal fee you all have to pay while filing for the RTI, be it by postal, be it by person, be in person, or you are giving RTI application online in an online mode. You have to pay only a nominal fee of rupee 10. You can give a demand draft, you can pay a cash the way you want to. Online, if you're paying, obviously you have to pay online modes we have available. But what if you belong to the BPL status, below poverty level? Under those circumstances, you are not required to pay any fee if you want to have any information under the RTI. And then many times what happens, whatever information you're seeking from a public information officer, he might not be having access to that information. So in that case, what will happen? He won't have access to the information. Should he, dispose of your application, that he won't have the information available with him, or should he forward the concerned application to the another department? Under those circumstances, he seek an option. Section 6, subsection 3 of the RTA has laid down the provision that in case the PIO who has received an application won't have the information available with him, then within 5 days from the receipt of the application, he has to forward to the relevant public authority that yes, you are the one who have to give the reply. And it is again always advisable while drafting your RTI that if any part of the information sort is held by another public authority, the same may be transferred to the relevant public authority. You should mention this while filing your RTI application. And then important points to ponder. Points to remember. You must provide the place from where your application is written. You must end the application with your signature and contact details. And it is necessary that you give correct phone numbers and email address to allow the officers to get in touch with you regarding your application. And lastly, you should write down the details of your enclosure instance. If you are below poverty line, then you must enclose the below poverty line certificate with your application. And in case you won't fall to the BPL category, you need to enclose a 10 rupee fee. You may pay by check, demand draft, or cash. Then comes the another important note. Section 6, subsection 2 of the RTI has clearly stated that applicant making a request for the information should be required to give any reason for, is not required to give any reason for requesting the information. Now you want to file an RTI. Okay, fine, it's my right. Do I need to specify the reason also that why I want to have this information? Then the answer is no. I'm not required to give any reason except your personal details, what is required for contacting you for the purpose of supplying you the information. Beyond that, they cannot ask for any other irrelevant information. That, sir, why you're asking this information? You just tell me about your family details only, then I'll provide you this information. No, the person will not, the PIO will not ask you about your income and all that. That what's your income? to which religion you belong to. No, they are not supposed to have these kind of information out of you. They cannot ask the reason also that why you are asking for this particular information. It's their duty to supply the information, whatever has been asked out of them as per the provisions. And then moving to the do's and the don'ts while writing an effective application. When we write an RTA application, our primary focus should be to get information from the public authority. You know why? Reason being, normally while writing an RTI, we used to lose track of what it is and what we want to seek. Because instead of asking information, people start focusing on, to have answers from the government about the wrongdoings, how to penalize the officials, to corrupt contractors, how to make them answerable for the negligence, or asking the authorities about their opinion on the issues or the applications or onto the law itself. Because if we mention these kind of issues, na, then our application will turn into the long stories full of accusation, and the focus should be on two, that we need information. We are not filing RTI to, accuse someone. That is a task which is to be taken care of by the other authorities under the other lawful means. RTI is not a decision-making authority. They are not the spokesperson of the public authority from which, the information is required. So no useful information can be gained by asking questions about the other kinds of opinions the uh, PIOs might be having. Our ultimate goal, no doubt, is to curb corruption, to stop the continuance of the offences or some other bigger needs and all that. But while writing application, we first ensure that we get the information only. Then we can, move further to proceed or to fulfill the other requirements. So below mentioned steps should be kept in mind, my dear, while drafting your effective applications. Give the details of the document sort clearly what you want to have. Don't cook up the stories out there that it started this way, and 4 pages story you are giving to the PIO. Then he'll say, sorry sir, I'm not interested in supplying you the information. It should be the crux over there. Always keep your information in the application short and specific. Be minimalistic so that the PIO is not overburdened and he is happy to share you the information. You can ask for the information, not the reasons, and know when to ask for the inspection and be explicit. Do your homework well and complete all formalities. And if we have to submit any sort of assignment, we want to ask anyone. We used to do our homework first. Same here with the RT. If you want to make anyone answerable, you should be very much aware about it, what information I want to ask for. So it's up to you and on the applicant that what information you want to ask for. So you should be ready with the things that you have done your homework well and you are very much acquainted with the facts. This is what I really want from the RTA. That is, while it is easy for you to expect all the papers sought to be and information to reach to you within 30 days, within 30 days, the information has to be supplied by PIO. And in case within 30 days, they are not supplying you the information, then they are liable for the penalties. But if you really want your information to be supplied within 30 days, then you have to be very, very careful while drafting your information. So pay the requisite amount of fee also and then send your application. And the don'ts now. Please don't write vexatious or the frivolous application. Don't plead to get the information. Don't ask questions regarding, getting volume responses and all that. Don't write down your complaints or grievances. I'm repeating again here, don't write down your complaints or grievances, seek only information. Don't infringe the privacy of any of the department. And do not ask for the opinion, ask only for the information. Don't confuse with the vague expressions. Do not put the information officer to sleep, and do not send your first draft immediately. You should be very first with the fix whatever you are mentioning onto your application which you are sending to the concerned department. And with this, I would like to conclude my discussion for the day. And I hope you all might have understood what the objective RTI used to comply, why it has been given as a transparency tool into the hands of the citizens of the India, and how you people can utilize it, and how effectively you can write your applications. Over to the moderator now. Ruby ma'am, are you there? Are we open for the question answer round now? Ruby ma'am, Ruby ma'am, are you there? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for quite an impactful presentation. You have bounded us with your visionary thoughts. And thank you so much for briefing the audience with all the information. And I'm sure attendees, you have upgraded your skills by the inputs and learning shared by our expert today. So thank you so much, ma'am. And yes, ma'am, we have few queries
Thank
from
you,
the
ma'am.
attendees. So with your permission, we'll
Yes,
take
ma'am.
up those queries, ma'am.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
All right. So, ma'am, there is a attendee named Nimrit. She wants to know that what is the difference between BA LLB and BA LLB, BB LLB and BA LLB.
Ma'am, BBLLB when it comes to the management courses over there, and when it comes to the BALLB over there, you'll be getting the specialization into the law for sure. Over there, you'll be having the subjects, for example, political science, history, economics, sociology, psychology. And when it comes to the BBA over there, you'll be getting the courses onto the management. We'll be getting the courses on the accounting over there. We'll be getting the courses onto the finance over there. This is what the basic difference between the BBLLB and the BALLB. Law courses throughout the 5 years will remain same. The only difference over there, ma'am, is that is the orientation. Over there, we'll be dealing with the arts and humanities, and in the BBA, we'll be dealing with the management courses.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And we have the follow-up question for the same. That what is the placement
Yes,
ratio? That what should be choose? What should to choose? BB LLB or what to choose? Either BB LLB or BA LLB. So, ma'am, what
ma'am, here I would
placement
like
pattern you?
Ma'am, here I would just like to have one query out of the student, whether the student right now is doing, plus one, plus two into the humanities field, or whether the student is into the commerce field. If you are there into the commerce field, my dear, then I suggest you to go for the BBA LLB honors, because that will be into the connection, and you will be having so many options available for you into the commerce, management, law field, and all that. But if you are from the humanities background, then into a BBA LLB honors program, it might become difficult for you to handle out the courses related to the commerce, accounting, management, and all that. Over there, you might be going for the law firms, you might be going for the various companies out there, you might be going for according to the specialization later on to the law of fourth year onward and all that. If you're selecting for the corporate specialization, you can be into the corporate sector. If you are specializing, you are opting for the criminal law specialization, accordingly you can be going for the same. So basic difference for the BA and the BBA student is placement ratio in both the courses is equal at par, depending upon to the nature of the plus one plus two stream, whichever you might be covering. You will be sitting for the placement drives, and for sure if you're doing your best, you will get placed over there. Equal opportunities in both the streams as well.
Absolutely, ma'am. I completely agree with you. And attendees, I'll tell you that
Yes,
sky is the limit. You need to work
yes.
hard to reach to that top, to reach to your set goals. So yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. We'll
We
take
will
up
get
last
in the
but not the least query.
sure, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So
I just want to say
yes,
once
ma'am.
again,
We'll
you
take
will
up
give
last
the
but not.
wings to the student and they have to fly. We'll give them the wings to
Absolutely,
fly
ma'am. We
and they
have
have to fly.
top-notch faculty. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Of course. Okay, ma'am.
Hmm.
So, ji, ma'am, we'll take up last but not the least query from
Yes,
Jasmine.
ma'am.
She wants to know that she's planning to join the campus, but how can she cope up
Hmm.
with the syllabus? Like the classes has been started from August. So how can she cope up with the syllabus? Will faculty help her? Ma'am, what is your take on this?
Sure, ma'am. Ma'am, being a head here, I just want to, assure to the student that we used to have rebook classes with the student. Those will be joining over late. We will be providing every possible facility to the student out here. They might not, they not might not be, they will not be panicked. They will not be overburdened with the syllabus whatsoever. So have been covered out here. They will be evaluated on the basis of what they have done so far after joining the campus out there. And whenever they'll be having any doubt whatsoever, the faculties they used to have doubt clearing sessions also, every week, every single day, whenever you feel like that you are having a doubt anywhere, faculties are on 24/7 available for the students out there. This is what my personal assurance is there for the student.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am, for resolving all
Welcome.
the queries of our attendees. So with this, we'll conclude our
Thank you.
today's webinar.
My pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, attendees, for sparing time and
Thank you very much.
participating in the webinar. We appreciate you all for being there, and I believe your knowledge has been enriched by this webinar. Also, I would like to express my appreciation to Neeru ma'am for her valuable contribution. Ma'am, thank you so much. I'm sure your years of research, your years of experience will definitely help the audience to choose the right path. So, yes, ma'am, thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much.
And
My
attendees, and
pleasure.
thank you, everyone. So until next time, I, Ruby, will finally sign off the session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.